Hi guys, good evening and welcome back once again to the EdWord. I'm your host Eddie, and in tonight's video I will be doing my episode review for the latest episode of AMC's Fear the Walking Dead. Just got done watching it just a few moments ago. It was just definitely an improvement from last week's episode, but before I get into all of that, of course, please be warned, as usual with my episode reviews, especially for shows like this is a spoiler-filled review. If you're not caught up on Fear the Walking Dead, do not keep watching or listening to this episode, as I will be going into spoilers. That being said, you have been warned. So let's jump right into it. Spoilers starting now. Very good episode. Big improvement from last week's episode. This one was a lot more engaging, a lot more gripping. There was just so much more going on, and I think what helped is that there were multiple storylines going on. Strand and Charlie, Morgan looking for a ride to get to them, Grace dealing with the potential fallout, June and Al looking for fuel for the plane, Alicia trying to convince the kids to come with them. All of these storylines going on is exactly why I thought, what I thought was going to make this show so good in the first place is that, we have Walking Dead, and then we also have this show, Fear the Walking Dead, and it's like they both exist in the same universe, but you could have multiple storylines going on simultaneously, and that's what's so interesting. And I think this episode did a pretty good idea of capturing that. It did a good job capturing that idea or that concept. I did think to myself, the timing was rather eerie, but I thought to myself during this episode, gosh, it's been a while since we've had any big major character deaths. Like, nobody has really died so far in this season. And sure enough, Alicia has now been exposed to nuclear walker blood. She got some of the nuclear walker blood in her mouth. Now, she could be contaminated, and she could not be. And we don't know how fast or how quickly or how slowly the radiation poisoning could kill her. So she's still standing for now, which is fitting because that was the title of this episode, Still Standing. And despite Alicia's potential death being teased, I really enjoyed her story throughout this episode. And I loved how she faced down the herd of walkers so bravely, and allowing the kids to get away and just taking them all one after another, despite the risk to herself. She's proven herself to be quite the warrior and an overall badass. Going back to season 4 all the way up till now, she has proven just what an effective warrior and survivor she has truly become. I think Madison would be proud of her. And I also love how this episode seemed to plant or tease a potential budding romance between Morgan and Grace, because it's like they have this heart-to-heart conversation where they both discover they have something in common with each other. They value other people's lives more important than their own. And then I also like how Morgan came to the realization after Alicia pointed it out that they should not forget to live their own lives despite doing this goodwill stuff to help and save other people. They shouldn't forget to live their own lives, to go about their own existence. I am pretty pleased with how the whole truth about Sherry thing, leaving the note for Dwight, came to be. I was a little nervous at first. I thought the damage would be irreparable and Dwight would have a fit and just threaten or just storm off from John, but he actually took it pretty well and actually understood why John did what he did. And now he's decided to stick with them as well, all the while saying, well, I'm not going to stop. He's like, well, I'll stop looking for her, but that doesn't mean I won't ever find her someday. And John is encouraging that train of thought, which is nice, I thought. So overall, pretty solid episode. Some great walker kills and some really nasty walker shit. Like when that one nuclear walker was on top of Alicia and his eye was dangling out of his socket so close to her face and her mouth, and then she finally kills it, but then she gets its blood in her mouth, and now she could be possibly contaminated and could die not of a walker bite but of radiation poisoning. Overall, solid episode. I'm glad that they're starting to wrap up the plane storyline. They finally convinced the kids to come with them, and once everybody gets back to the truck stop, they can all get in the plane and then take off and start a brand new storyline for the second half of the season. Normally, the 8th episode of these shows is usually the mid-season finale. They didn't say that in the advertisements, but chances are pretty good that it is, or that it will be. The show will be at Comic-Con next weekend, so maybe we'll get get some kind of update then as to if indeed this is the mid-season finale, or if they're just going to keep pumping out episodes for the next 8 weeks, because we still have 8 more episodes left. So what are your thoughts and feelings on this episode? What do you think is going to go down in next week's episode? I'd love to hear from everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your night. Fear the Walking Dead airs new episodes every Sunday night on AMC. Check your local listings for times. Thanks again for stopping by, and of course, until next time, may the Force be with you.